So I think when I think of the sort of female garage producers in the scene that came before you, I think I mean forgive me if I'm wrong. I'll shout out names if I'm missing anybody, but I think of Flavor D, and that's pretty much where the list goes to in terms of female producers in the genre. So in a scene with I think such, I mean it's obviously getting a lot better now with some of the names that are coming through. But previously in a scene with such little female representation, like how did you find it trying to find inspiration, and was it essentially, did it kind of force you to create your own path rather than have those sort of role models that you could model your work on?
Well, it's a good question. I think role models can be an amazing thing, but they can also be a little bit detrimental if you're a new artist, because you're only a new artist once. Do you know what I mean? If you're making waves right now and people haven't heard of you yet, that's a sacred, special little zone to be in, and where you can really be unique and define yourself. And if you have a role model that you're copying too closely, it can kind of almost stop you from just being you. So I was kind of grateful for the lack of role models. You definitely need a few, and Flavor D was a huge influence. But I loved the fact that there was loads of space out there for me to just experiment and try stuff out as me.
Mm. Did you find there were a lot of challenges that came with that then in quite a male-dominated scene?
Yeah, I'm kind of competitive though. If someone tells me not to push the button, I'm going to push the button. I'm kind of like that. So I didn't really ever have a problem getting on the decks. I'm kind of happy to elbow boys out of the way and just. And I love it when people doubt me, because then I'll just double drop more. Do you know what I mean? I'll just be right. And I definitely want to see that from more women. It's not as scary as it seems. That's what I'd like to say for any ladies listening. It's not as scary as it seems. You can do it as well. And I think it's just about confidence,
You've heard it here first from Shosh, for all the female garage producers out there. Now, there's a lot more female producers that are starting to emerge in the scene. We've got Laura Alice and Oppadan, who have released with Steppers Club.
Yes.
We've got Baklava and more recently Girls Don't Sing as well coming through. So do you feel like there's an added responsibility in the way that perhaps you didn't have an inspiration for what you were doing? Do you now feel an added responsibility that you're sort of that role model in the scene now for the new guys that are coming through?
Yes. I feel like there is a responsibility there that's kind of put on women. I don't resent it, because I'm here to help women. I am, genuinely. It's in my heart to do that. But I also resent that it's a prerequisite for every female artist, because how often as a man are you asked, right, and what are you doing for other men out there? You know what I mean? But at the same time, we're in a movement right now. It's a kind of equality movement for women and for cultures, and I'm really happy that that's there. So I feel like we do have a responsibility to build on it as much as possible. Yeah.
No, I think it's going to be really important over the next few years in terms of how we mould our scene. I think we've, especially with us running our label, with you running 24 Hour Garage Girls and the other tastemakers in the scene, I think we've got a real responsibility to try and get it right where other scenes perhaps haven't. And it's something that we're trying to do in the talent that we're trying to put on. I know that you're obviously very passionate about that as well.
It's a weird one though, because for ages I was just muddling through as me, making loads of mistakes, hoping people didn't notice. And then I remember speaking to some girl fans, and they were like, yeah, this is inspiring, we started DJing because of you, and coming to see you play. And I don't think I even realized that I had the power to influence people until quite recently. No.